the door open, so John's going to have to run and close that really quick.
Jimmy, close off your sound.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyways, while John is away from the couch, I'd like to welcome everybody to Digital Indepth. We're live here from some new digs. Welcome to the David Larson Memorial Library at Mather Training Center. We're working on converting this space over into a nice quiet study area and a place where we can basically preserve interpretation history, which is really kind of cool. And our topic today is live. So I'm John Rudy with the Interpretive Development Program. This is
John Tobiason with the Harpers Ferry Center.
And we're here to chat about what it's like to work in the real world, really.
Like you might have a door open by accident.
Exactly, because we're doing it live. So who knows what could mess up. Of course, we do this quite often live. So who knows what's going to mess up.
And you've seen lots of mess ups.
Yeah, and it's not that big a deal either, and that's the good thing. So to get started, I'm going to kick into the idea of live. So Jen, can you flip us over? How are we looking? Did it advance? Good. Oh, awesome. So as long as I can keep my eyes there. All right. So when I'm thinking about live, I'm thinking about this word right here, which isn't necessarily what you're going to think of when you're thinking of live, but I'm weird. So I'm thinking of veritas, which is truth in Latin. It's the Roman concept of truth. And veritas is also the Roman goddess of truth. I was looking around earlier for a picture of Veritas, the Roman goddess of truth, and couldn't find one where she didn't have, an exposed chest area. So I decided to just offer you guys an artist depiction that I was able to hack together today. Veritas, the Roman goddess. Yes, she has the book of truth, the book of knowledge. See, John's here with me. You're already catching up. So Veritas, this idea of truth is really powerful. So much so that the Romans had a god devoted to truth. Of course, the idea of Veritas, that idea of truth, keeps going, and people start referencing that Roman goddess. When you think of the word true, well, I think of this thing right here. This is actually a picture of a hunk of the true cross. Okay, the true cross is a Christian relic. It's purportedly the cross that Jesus Christ was crucified on. The true cross has been one of those venerated relics in the history of the world. It's something that Christians look to as a real item. A real item. The real thing. They want to touch it. They want to go on pilgrimages to it. There's a hunk of it in Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. They're all over the place. Now, there's also a few people that say if you could bring together all of the pieces of the true cross and put them together, you'd have a heck of a crucifixion. It would be a massive cross. So is the idea that it's real, or is the idea that you get to touch the real? And feeling like you're touching the real is really powerful. The idea of the real, the true, the actual, the verifiable is powerful. That veritas, that verifiability, keeps pushing forward. There we go. And this, you can see right here, this is a coin. This is a penny from Britain, from the reign of Mary I, Mary Tudor. And her motto is emblazoned on the reverse of the coin there: Veritas temporis filia. Veritas temporis filia. Let me highlight that a little bit better, a little bit easier to see it that way. And you got me echoing here. Veritas temporis filia. What does that mean? Well, for those of you that don't do Latin, I failed out of one semester of freshman Latin in college, so I don't do Latin either, but handy-dandy translation here. Truth is time's daughter. So if we're looking to give visitors an opportunity to feel truth, time is important in this whole question. Our sites, our places of the true cross. They're real objects. We want to give people real experiences, veritas, within landscapes. We want to give them the opportunity to touch the real And it's dead simple to do that. I mean, think of the places that we have. We have that reality. We have that reality available to us every single day. I think of a place like this one right here. I mean, this is a photo that just was recently put up. This was, I think, January 2nd. This was put up onto Flickr by Grand Canyon when the snow fell there. And look at the number of pilgrims who have walked out to that point, that promontory. Just like they might walk to the piece of the true cross to touch it, they've gone to that promontory to touch it, to see that place with that snow, with that moment. It's real. It's true. It's an amazingly powerful moment of veritas, of that verifiability, that truth, of the truth of experience. These people need to be in that place to feel that thing. Of course, you can also go to some of our cultural landscapes too. You can stand in those places, sometimes with still the people who experienced the events that took place there or that those monuments commemorate. This one is World War II and a veteran standing there with the monument as well. We can feel the truth of that place, but it requires being in that place. That's the thing about this, is that we have these amazing places, these places of veritas, these places of visceral truth, of feelable truth. But you gotta be there. And time is a factor. I mean, it takes time to go to these places. This is why we look to social media, because social media is that powerful moment where we go, maybe the proximity doesn't matter as much as the time, as much as doing things live. The idea of truth is experience. We experience truth through all the senses. Again, this is my bastardized Latin. Sorry about that. But we see, we feel, we taste, we smell, we experience places with our body. It's how we live life. We need to use all of our senses. And these places that we hold dear, the national parks, they're places where you can do this, where you can look and see, where you can touch and feel, where you can taste, where, yes, you can even smell things. Thanks, Lester, for that image there, by the way. It's a place where we can really feel the truth of experience, feel the truth of the world around us, feel its visceral quality. So if we want to feel this truth, and if time is a factor, we need to give people the opportunity to live things, to feel them physically, to feel them emotionally, to feel them in their heart. My screen, John. It's okay, keep changing things. And the best way to do that, the best way, yeah, exactly, is live. The best way to let people feel like they're there, even when they can't be there, is to do things quickly, to give them that live view of the world. I mean, we all have this happen. We all have the live view of the world. We're plugged in 24/7. We go with the live view of the world every single day. In fact, it looks like this, doesn't it? This is what the live view of the world looks like. It looks like, some ugly mug on a screen, and the power of those 4 little letters down there in the bottom corner of the screen, and that little scroll going too. This is what live looks like. It's the opportunity for all of us to experience something together. It's a communal experience, it's a visceral experience, it's real, it's true. Now, it comes through various different filters, obviously. This one would be the NPS World Services filter, but it's still true, and we're still experiencing it together. That live, that power of the 4 letters there, down in the corner, live, is massive. Live is about being, well, viscerally there. It's about being in the experience and living part of it, which is cool. It's cool to think that we can help other people live their lives and feel like they're living their lives within a park, even when they're not. to be part of the experience when they're hundreds and thousands of miles away, literally when they're around the globe. When you post at 3 and 4 a.m. in another language, and suddenly you see the traffic come in from Thailand or from Russia or from Germany, you're giving those people a physical experience within that landscape. You're choosing the time, the specific time to do it, and you're choosing the moment to go live. The idea of live, the idea of truth, for us, it's not a piece of the true cross. We have a lot of other relics. But one of the relics that still I have right here, where did it go? There it is. I have this relic. Right there. It's a pocket watch. 1868. A true relic. And that's one of the relics that we have available to us in the Park Service. The clock. The clock is our moment of truth. The clock is our opportunity to choose exactly when to post something, exactly when to speak to our audiences, to underline the power of meaning, to underline the opportunity, and to give them those moments of viscerality. Choose exactly when to publish, choose exactly when to post, and functionally, you can create a portal into your site. You can bring people there without having to get them on an airplane and fly them halfway around the world and then get them on a bus and then bring them through your gate and then have them come up to the information desk. Live. So that's why. But how? I mean, how is the massive question here, isn't it? I mean, you guys are always worried about how, and John's going to talk a little bit about the how, and then we'll chat a little bit about this. What does this mean live?
So the how has multiple pieces, right? Live can mean, like what John talked about a minute ago, live posting just something that just happened. And that's a huge difference between the live of, let's say, doing a live event, right? So there's two different types of planning and strategizing, strategery, while you're working on those two pieces. So we have, live events, and then you have live things that you want to post because they just happened. The only way there's meaning is because it just happened, or the best way to get meaning out of that is because it just happened. So let's dig in. So the biggest thing, so first we'll start with the live event. So live event is something that we expect a lot of you will be doing in the next year.
Or two.
The next year or two. Centennial's coming. There's going to be lots of people behind podiums. There's going to be lots of stages set up. There's going to be lots of interesting things happening in parks, around parks, and across the country. And sometimes you might not be the biggest camera, the largest Twitter feed that's there, but it's still our event. It's still our thing to cover. It's still our piece. And so what do we need to do that? And this is probably the first of, I'm guessing, multiple times we'll probably talk about this. I hope that some of this live event stuff we can encapsulate into a little bit more things on the digital community. But let's start out just so you guys have some ideas of how this works. Now, I've worked a number of live events. John has as well, both on the video side, the social media side, and then just helping other people plan them, Everything from the Civil War events that happen to inaugurations to just shooting live video internally. They all have a number of steps that you have to go through, and really, we're back to the slide.
Yeah, we're back.
No, we're not.
Go hit
and so now we're just sticking slide room.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, it's coming up like that. Oh, look at that.
They can't see what you're seeing, John.
Yeah, we can.
Did this happen before? It doesn't matter. We'll just leave it like this.
Just go back out. Click hide there. That's right. Just one more time.
Ta-da. This is what happens when you do it live. Weirdness.
All right. Well,
this. So it doesn't matter. We're just going to keep the slides up, and I'll just make them as big as possible. All right. So that's fine with me. So doing it live. So that's part of this, right? You have to work on the way it works. A lot of times you might plan a little bit more, right? A webinar is a very different entity to plan for than a live real event. If you're planning a live real event, you'd have backups. John and I would practice this a lot more. You'd have a lot more things going on.
Especially if it's a large, dignitary style of event that you're kind of aiming towards too.
Great, all those things show. So planning. So the first thing with planning is really starters are be part of that event planning. Make sure they know that you're planning on talking at it. And sometimes an event planning team can be, just a few people in a room. Sometimes it turns into an incident command team. Find out if they have people that are bringing in to do it beyond what yours is, and that's a huge thing. Like if an incident command team's coming in to take care of this or a set team, then you need to make sure that you're becoming part of that. They're going to need access to accounts. You're going to need to coordinate. You're still the person that knows the part best. You know the story the best. You know what's going to happen generally. Users start a social media team around this event. Sometimes you might need to get people from outside of your regular social media team for your part of the program. And look at your established strategy. There's probably some things in it that can help you. So decide on platforms to focus on. That's one of the biggest things. Are you going to be using Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, or just a mix of them? Are you going to be doing a YouTube live sort of thing? Are you going to be using live stream, or is somebody else doing that? Who's doing that? How do we balance it? Just because somebody's live streaming it doesn't mean you shouldn't post a video that's taken as well live, right? Just a quick video. Or if it's being pushed onto CNN, which is some of the things we could be doing. There's no reason why you can't take a quick video using an iPad or a video camera even, and then processing it very quickly and posting it. So there are lots of different ways to think about platforms and what you should focus on. So what is your audience looking for? What is the audience of those platforms? That's a big thing. How much are they expecting it? And then what are you trying to accomplish? That's really going to go to what platform you're going to do. If you're looking to take pictures, or if you have a set group of people that are, if it's a very picturesque event kind of piece, maybe it's more about pictures. Maybe it's Instagram. If you're only going to be posting a few things, maybe it's Facebook. But if you're going to be doing like a live speech and you want to and there's questions and things like that you should be asking, maybe it's a Twitter. Or maybe it's something we don't have. And we can talk about that. Frequency. How to establish post frequency. So post frequency is really a critical thing, and it's something that, and you'll see this again. I actually have another slide about post frequency. Again, because it's very important. Post frequency is really about how your event, what is the platform how much can that platform handle? How much are users expecting out of your page at that time? We've seen when we do a lot of the live events, people unlike you, unfollow you, because you never did this. You didn't warn them, or you did, and there is just an expected amount of people that will leave. Because you have an expected amount of people that will start liking your page at that point as well. So frequency, figure out frequency. Hashtags. Hashtags are, make one that's short and relatively unique. Mm-hmm. Use the ones that already exist. What the heck? There you go. We have all these different hashtags floating around. Mm-hmm. Figure out which ones it is. I just stuck them in. If people are using different ones at different times, hashtags evolve. You need to make sure you know the hashtags for the event other people are making, and the hashtags that get made instantaneously during your event. It happens all the time.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things about hashtags for me is that just because you start using a hashtag doesn't mean that that's the hashtag that's getting used, or that's the hashtag that's going to get used. I would guess that of those, our official one will probably be NPS Centennial, but I bet you that folks are going to start using NPS 100 a lot more. At least visitors will. And if we want to join in that conversation, we have to pay attention to who's using what in the moment.
System internally, which I didn't actually make a slide up. It's always a good thing to figure out a way when you have a bunch of people spread out through a park or spread across an event to be able to communicate with each other without using the social media that you're all posting to. One of the best ways, if everybody's got a phone, is you can make a message group, a text message group, and you can all communicate very quickly with that. It doesn't mess with your other stuff. It's isolated, and it actually works even if cellular data starts going down. That's a good slide to put in for the
Yes.
future. So but hashtags. So watch out for hashtagging. That's just part of the way these events always work. Tip. There it is. Listen to the episode today. Look, I even had a slide about that. In case another hashtag becomes popular, then use both. So using both, using multiples, using extras, adding ones in is not an issue. The only time it becomes actually an issue is when you try to put 5 on and it takes up your content space. Figure the content that you want to generate. Figure out what you want to do. What's that shot list? What's the instead of it's kind of like, how do you want to storyboard or script how this is going to go? We all know how an event's going to go. We all have an idea of what's going to happen. Sometimes it's all already written out. It's been practiced. So why not know what you're going to post at all those points? Now, you might need to be, you definitely want to produce some content, ahead of time, which we'll talk about in another slide, but you definitely want to get that, know what kind of places you want to get. Okay, I want to get when the superintendent shakes this guy's hand, we want to get a picture of that. We want to get a picture of the moment Old Faithful goes off, because we know it's going to go off during this thing, big thing, the flyover or whatever happens. I don't know what's going to happen at some of these events. What that could be. You want to get those shots of things. It's like getting the shot when the guy or gal gets their award. You want to make sure that somebody's job, John, your job, no matter what else, at this time, is to get that picture. Doesn't matter how many people's faces you get in the way of, get the picture.
And in the newspaper business, they call those grip and grins.
Right, grip and grin shots.
It's you aim for the very specific shots to get, and someone is in charge of grip and grins, and they just get all of those photos of dignitaries meeting one another, or whatever it is that you want. And giving someone a shot list like that, not just photos, but also a tweet list. A shot list is just it's the photo language that we end up using, is really powerful. Saying, okay, I need you here at 3 o'clock. There's something cool you're going to be able to cover.
Yep. So have draft messages. We talked about a little bit, but really, and we've done this before, you get a copy of the speech. You get a copy of what everybody's going to say. You not only get the copy so you can be following along, but you preload into your phone, let's say your mobile, into your computer, into a Word doc, or into a text edit doc, or something like that. WordPad, Notepad, whatever they call it. And you cut those, copy-paste those directly into the Twitter feed. You've already got them cut down. You know what they're going to say. You got to make sure that it's what they say. But getting a copy of speech is really important and really key. Because you know what they're going to say, and it's great, at least, to be there. But you do have to get those great highlights, because some of the best things people say are the things they say off script.
Yeah, and we've done this before. We did this at a director level event when we were tweeting an NAI, and the director was speaking, and we had a draft of his script right in front of us, and we're following along. And when he went off book, then I had to delete out some of the tweets that I had pre-entered, and it just so that I didn't say he was saying something he wasn't. But and then he did say a few other cool things that I was able to plug into the phone real quick. But pulling from that messages list or from that note list is really, really powerful.
You can also anticipate other things, like if interesting things are going to happen, or if there's interesting times when there might be a crowd shot or something else happening, you can do those kind of things. You can you know that between these two places that we're not going to have anything else. This might be that dead minute or two in a live event. We should shoot the crowd at this point. If there's some weird transition or something, figure out how to fill those spaces in. Tone. So just watch out your tone. The one thing is we do want to make sure that we are people, but you want to review what tone you want this event to have. Depending on who's there, what's happening, you definitely need to think about what you're saying, and especially saying things in the moment. Just because it's funny doesn't mean right now to you through your phone and you're sitting there and you came up with something witty because what somebody said or something happened. It really could be in poor taste, and once you stick it on Twitter and you're all excited through an event, you don't know what it looks like on the other side. So one side is, just keep it simple. Logistics, just a thing that I love to throw out there. It's like what to wear. Sometimes it's not the best idea to wear a tie, even if you're meeting something very important. If you're dealing with tripods, I've chopped up 2 ties with tripods before. Never doing it again because it's expensive way to ruin ties. So what are you wearing? Is what you're wearing an issue? With what the event's about, or for your access too. So sometimes you might be able to take more pictures from certain spots if you're wearing certain things versus if you're not wearing other things. Driving, timing, all those things you have to think about of how long it's going to take you to get there. We know everybody knows that. But hardware, battery packs, chargers, extra laptops, extra cameras, phone lenses, those little things you can stick over your phone to make better shots. And then the apps, preload all your apps. Go look around. There might be some app that maybe you don't usually use that might be better for this.
And I would add to this, we didn't add this before, is that dump off the data that's on your device as well. You never want to get out in the field, take some photos, and realize your memory card is full. Or your phone is full. And how many times have I been in a museum and tried to take a photo of something and couldn't because my phone was full, and then I had to make that awful choice of what photos do I delete while I'm standing here in front of the case. You don't want to find yourself, what photos do I delete while the park superintendent is shaking the president's hand? That's never the right place to be.
Well, and then you have the other issue, too, of even though you would be using government equipment, your phone, your other phone probably is still in your pocket. So, having that prepared just in case is another way just to be ready.
Backups and backups and backups.
It's a backup, it's the backup that you'll go to. You'll go to it if something happens. And so, just be prepared for it. The other thing is be prepared logistically, like I mentioned it really quickly before, but network. Data and networks go down. Be prepared for that, Right now, I know that Amber may be watching this. I don't know. Hi. And I've done this. I did it for the inauguration. I sat in my office in Harpers Ferry and live did a lot of things that people probably thought somebody was standing there doing.
In fact, you were doing some of that because I was texting you a few images from there, and the network was buckling as I'm trying to send him some images. So,
and the other thing we have is we do live. When we've done that. I would get images from John and from people at Washington Communications, or I'd find them in other places. At big events, the networks go down. The internet goes down. Everything goes down. So be prepared for that. Have an off-site person. I know that when Amber, just because I mentioned her name, the reason why I said this is because at the Christmas tree lighting, she did it from her office. She had a ticket sitting right next to her to go watch it. And she sat in her office and did it because networking's a problem. Things crash when you have a lot of people together, and it's harder to get that to have that reaction. So it's almost always better to have somebody in an office somewhere as a backup.
Right, and that's a great thing. It's one of the things that the Civil War 150th team has done really well. Is basically commandeer a room and set up a series of laptops with hardline connections, so you don't have to worry about it going down. That's always a great thing so that you can do that stuff live. You can get it out there immediately and not worry about the cell network going down as the president is giving his inaugural address.
Practice. If you can visit the venue before it happens, it's great. If you can be there the night before and set up, it's great. Knowing where everything is, knowing the plugs are, knowing what other equipment is there is great. Don't depend on that guy at the place telling you that his projector has that adapter on, because most likely he'll be sick and you won't be able to get to it. So it's best to practice, best to know what you got and what you don't have. Marketing. So marketing's one of these important things. So pre-promotion, nobody's going to know what you're doing, so you have to pre-promote and sketch out like an editorial calendar. Most of the Civil War 150 events did this. They have a long editorial calendar leading up to it. They told people they were going to do this. They were going to live tweet. And here's some of the things that are leading up to our event. Those things have different lead-ups that are happening. So you make an editorial calendar. Physically take a calendar. Print it out with your team. Write down all the important dates. Write when you should post. Make auto posts, and it will post. You don't have to do anything. It'll just post. Hashtags. Again, start using them in the marketing, in the pre-promotion. You let people know ahead of time. Maybe you will be the hashtag, but at least people will know what that hashtag means, what it is, and it can start a trend. And your partners will then know the hashtag you thought of. Talk about the social media coverage. So market the fact that you'll be doing it. That's one of those big things. Make sure people know that you'll actually be live tweeting. You should check it out here. You can go to this YouTube channel and watch this here.
Set up the broadcast ahead of time and set up basically appointment television.
Yep, just like that. Just if you watch, a good place to watch is like rocket launches from NASA. You know, even before they get to it, it's on with like a wide cam just sitting there. You can do that at a lot of events. Just leave the wide cam open, watch everybody walk in and sit down.
Posting pictures of guys setting up chairs 2 or 3 days ahead of the event.
We're getting excited. Yeah.
All those kind of things are really great.
The event, the day has come. I'm not going to tell you too much here, but start early, set up. Things always happen. Doors always get left open. Get comfy. Get a nice couch. No, get yourself comfy. Get there early. Get coffee. You know, make sure everybody's set up. If you have a team of people, make sure they're happy. You know, make sure that everything's ready for them. On-site audience. Make sure beforehand, if you have that 10 minutes beforehand, and everybody's seated, and you're willing to, or the MC of the event as well is able to, let them know. Here is it's sitting on a little business card or something. Here is the Twitter fall on the screen. Now, I wouldn't say you always need to do that. That's kind of, you could do that. But just letting people know what the hashtag is, very important. Very popular, and it gives so many people a physical thing. So having literally like on things that are off camera, or if you're not doing a camera event, talk about that in a minute. Maybe you know, have the hashtag around.
This is something that academic conferences do very well.
Right. All conferences now.
Yeah. Is that you wander around those halls and there's posters everywhere that say the hashtag we're using is, and it really helps to drive that conversation.
And they stick little pieces of paper on every chair. They put it on your IDs. They put it on everything. Start. Let your audience know the event has started or is about to start. It's one of those few things that a lot of people don't remember to say.
We started about 35 minutes ago, just so you know.
So when you set start, you can actually tell people through a tweet, we started. It's starting. It's very exciting. Lights are up, or something like that. Flow. Keep the flow consistent. Don't hammer away for 5 minutes on Twitter and then wait 10 minutes for the next post because nothing exciting is happening. You need to make sure your flow is consistent. Now you can go up and down, but make sure there's always something happening at a logical point. Be the visitor, be the audience. That's why sometimes it's better to have somebody behind a computer doing this. Then they can be that flow thing. They will be the ones not at the event, sitting there bored.
Right. You need to give them a real experience.
Yes.
So treat it like whatever medium you're using is the only way that you're experiencing this. It's sometimes hard for me sitting there in the event. I'm seeing all this cool stuff. I get the band coming in from behind me, but they don't. So that observational stuff can also help to fill those gaps. Give them the real experience.
Chat. Engage folks who are participating online or the people that are there. And if it's possible, a big thing is to take those questions. And if you can't take the questions, answer questions for people based on what's happening in the event. So if you can't ask a question from Twitter, which is always a fun thing to do, you can, or from Instagram or whatever other thing you're using, you can always at least answer some things. Or you have that offline person do that. You have how many people are out there in the Park Service that, they don't actually have to be at your park. You could ask John or me, or there's 1,000 of us on DigiTurf. It's so funny to say that.
I know.
There's 1,000 of us, over 1,000 of us on DigiTurf. I'm sure you can find 1 or 2 people that are willing to help you out for that hour or 2 when your live event's happening. Just to be your eyes and ears in the Twitterverse or on YouTube or Facebook. Keep it simple. It's live. Oh, look. Did I not? Oh, look, I missed that one, huh? See, this is the problem with doing it off here. Well, you know what? There's the beauty of this, though. Ha-ha! See, this is why we do it this way. This is why we do it. Show. The beauty of live events is they happen. If you're ready or not, this is actually why I like doing things for live events. So you just have to go with it once it starts. It's just the way the world works. It's the beauty of doing video that way. It's the beauty of doing a lot of things that way. It's started, it's happening. You might not have a perfect broadcast, you might not have a perfect thing, but You just got to keep moving with it, and guess what? It's over when it's over.
Right.
That's it.
Don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Yes, exactly. Wrap up with a high note. Make sure folks know it's actually over. That's a big thing that you see, people don't, you have to make sure people out there know it's over. And you can keep saying it. You can say it more than once. Make sure people know it's over, though, especially if you're just doing a single, like a Twitter feed or Instagram pictures or something. Or if you're doing Instagram pictures and a Twitter feed, make sure that both of those mixed media audiences know that it's over. Not everybody does. Not, maybe people are following you on Instagram to look at the pictures, and then you got some things going on Twitter, and then Twitter's the only people that know it's over.
Thanks for joining us, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, folks.
Not right now, though.
No, yeah.
Don't cut out.
Yeah, stay with us.
So after, market it again. You got a pile of stuff. You got a lot of stuff you didn't put out. You might have some corrections to make. You might have some important points that didn't get pushed. Let folks know to look back at your feed, but also push out some other things. Get ready for the next one. Once you do this, you'll be asked again and again and again. So if you don't want to do this, don't follow these directions. They'll never ask you to do it again. No, it's a very, it's something that is going to become more ingrained in what we're doing, and so just get ready for the next one. Think about, you'll know right afterwards that you'll be doing, probably got another one coming up. Think through what went wrong, what went right. Do that, as they call it in the military, a hot wash or something, or after action. So other things. Really, it's, so the other things with a live event are really deciding what it is. So I was going to just give you a quick buzz through. So Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, so let's just thoughts on this. And I'll let John pop in on some of these.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh,
so
maybe.
Look at the stuff. Camera. Oh, you are. So Twitter really, is probably the king of live, right? Other than live stream or like a live broadcast video. But Twitter's like the king of things being live on the internet.
I think Twitter's the king of live conversation, too.
Yes.
That's the real underline there.
All right, and millions of people can participate in this live conversation without you being part of it even, and you're just giving them what the information is. They love when you come in, though. If you don't come in, they'll eventually all leave or get very angry. But Twitter's definitely the way it is. One beautiful thing about Twitter is you can tweet as many times as you want. Like, hammer it. Hammer. And they won't leave you. You'll actually get more followers. It's the funny thing about Twitter.
Yeah.
Now, if you did that with Facebook, let's start talking about that. You can't hammer people on Facebook. You can set people up. You can do like 10 posts an hour maybe, but I wouldn't go too further than that. You want to get the big highlights and you want to post. You do want to post timely though. Posting timely on Twitter is one thing. You can beat people, right? And your post will be the one that's shared. I talked about that a little bit. But your post will be the one that actually does get shared, unlike, if you posted this almost the same photo 3 minutes after somebody else. So
it's interesting that you said, about 10 times an hour.
Yeah.
When you're auto scheduling posts, that's about what Facebook will let you do.
Facebook lets you.
So that's about I would say that's probably your upper bound. But I would also say that's probably a sweet spot for a really, really busy event. That's a good place to be. Yeah. Is posting about 10 times an hour. I know that sounds daunting, but for some of these big events where you've got a nice team cooking, that won't end up being that hard.
And make them powerful posts too.
Yes.
Photos, micro video kind of things, short video spots are what you'd want to do on something like Facebook. Know the medium, right? Facebook, we all know. If you don't know, go back in this catalog of YouTube and go look at all the things we've done before.
Yep.
But video and photo are king.
Yes.
So on Facebook, and so but with good text, photo is powerful. So make sure that you're pulling those photos.
And I would add that Twitter is a very textual medium. Instagram obviously is a photo medium. Facebook is a very visual medium. But the most important thing about all of those is going back to that idea of veritas, of the truth, is that if those photos aren't identifiable as where you are, if there's nothing in that photo that says this is this special place, there's no reason to put it up. So make sure that there's iconography. Make sure that you can tell I'm at Ellis Island, I'm in a national park, I'm at the edge of the Grand Canyon, and there's visitors there.
Like, I'll give you a great example would be most people on Facebook aren't as worried about the zoom-in shot of the superintendent.
Mm-hmm.
But if you zoomed all the way out and there's a picture of the superintendent standing on stage with the Grand Canyon behind them, that's a powerful image.
Yeah.
Right? And so, still don't forget about the place that we all are in.
Yeah, tight shots on Facebook are not necessarily the best way to go.
Unless they are actual, famous fans.
Right, yeah. And I can think of actually historic events that have happened in parks that have ended up covered like that. The tightest shots that you see from video footage of the March on Washington are the Hollywood actors.
Yeah.
The rest of the stuff is those big crowd shots that are showing you where you are.
And the Lincoln Memorial.
And think of some of the most iconic images from an event like that. The most iconic image is, King waving from behind, looking out at that massive crowd, the physicality of the place. So put a monument in your image if you're taking that image. Put a building in your image. Make sure you can tell
the crowd.
I'm in the park while I'm looking at this crowd, because otherwise it's just a picture of people. And a picture of people's cool, but a picture of people in a powerful place, so much more like that piece of the True Cross.
So really think about what medium you want to use. NPS.gov, there's some places you could definitely, there's definitely some places you can put some things. A lot of pre-planning and marketing can happen there. You want to make sure people know that you're also going to be doing this on Twitter. A lot of people don't use Twitter as a personal medium. They use it as a looking medium.
Right.
So there's no reason not to talk about it there. There are some, there's probably some functions that you could probably use in it. You could definitely use some of the putting up the photos and things like that. It's just hard to do that live. So really, it's doing a lot more marketing using NPS.gov and then pushing that media afterwards.
And that's the key here, is that NPS.gov is our site of record, but it doesn't have to be our site of first resort. We can go to Facebook or Twitter or Instagram first, put the content there, and then when we get back to the office, put it onto NPS.gov. And then, of course, probably also upload it in high res to Flickr for the press crowd too. So NPS.gov, although it's our site of record, is not always the site of first resort.
Yeah, especially in a live thing. So video is a complicated thing, right? It's complicated to do live. It's complicated to guarantee that it's going to look right live. It's complicated to guarantee that you're going to have equipment to do it in high def live. It's expensive. If you're doing things live to a live public audience, you should caption them, right? John and I actually talked about this months ago about we've never gotten a request to do captions. It's always an open thing when they do trainings. But for this, we'd schedule it differently. We'd have it with WebEx, and then we can get a captioner. But for a live public thing, that's not an option. We'd have to hire the captioner to live caption the piece, and then audio describe it after it's finished. So it's one of these, and there are live audio describers too that you can hire as well. So the cost A goes up. Mm-hmm. B, you need a lot more dedicated people. You need people that can actually use a video camera to shoot it, and then you need somebody mixing it.
And a bandwidth issue as well.
And a bandwidth issue.
Especially if you're using a service like we're using right now, is one of the streaming services. This can eat bandwidth like nobody's business. Which means if you're trying to do it from phone, standing in the middle of a crowd, the signal's going to go down. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, any amount of crowd kind of places, it doesn't matter how good the bandwidth is, will crash.
Yeah, and humans are a really poor conductor of signal. We do a great job, because we're mostly water, of blocking radio signals, which means that when you get a bunch of people together and you hold your phone at your waist level, you're not going to get a signal. That's why sometimes you'll see me wandering through a crowd with my phone over my head like this, trying to send a text message. I look like I'm crazy.
You just like looking crazy.
Well, I do like looking crazy too, but anyways.
But there is a great difference between taped and live, though. So I'm not pushing that live. I love to shoot live because there's one great thing about shooting live video. You don't have to edit it after it's done.
Hey, how's it going? Notice that we don't have to edit this.
We can cut the back and end, but we leave it as it is. It's one of the beautiful things about shooting things live. The other thing is just sharing it with people. Now, with a lot of events, there are other people that will shoot them for you too, though, if you invite them. A lot of the Civil War events had live streaming by news organizations or by Civil War partners. so people are always willing to help you or help you stand up those kind of live events.
Especially historic sites have that brilliant idea of, even if it's not going to be live, they'll still catalog it for you.
Yeah.
C-SPAN and those types of organizations are desperate for content. They're always looking for stuff to put out there on Saturday and Sunday on those history-only days. So certainly, don't be afraid to email off to somebody and say, hey, do you guys want to stream this?
And there's always other people to help you shoot too.
Mm-hmm.
You have most community colleges in this country, in the United States, have video programs inside of them to shoot things. There are local TV stations that are all with that, as a service, are willing to shoot it. They may not broadcast it. They might make a story out of it, and they might give you the tape of the actual event. I mean, then you don't have to worry about it. It's one of those other things that you can then pull the feed in. You can talk about it on your live tweets and things like that, but it's something that you don't have to handle.
And you probably, besides those, you've probably got a hobbyist community someplace around you. Mm-hmm. The local public access channel. Those guys know how to use a camera too, and sometimes they just want to do it for fun. Inviting them in to help you to do this type of work could be amazing too, and it could build a long-lasting relationship.
So doing it live, there's planning, there's marketing, the actual event, and then the after. But there's another big piece of this. It's just posting live. So what happens, John told us a little bit about like that snowfall at the Grand Canyon. It's like sunrise, it's like anything else.
A temperature inversion.
Be instant. Right. Be instant. How can we build that into our strategy though, to be instant? You need to build it in. You need to make everybody comfortable with this idea of being instant. But, take a picture today, post it today.
Take a picture this minute, post it this minute.
Right. It's a powerful piece, to be able to actually say, and let's say you did take a picture of the wildflower blooming an hour before, you can still say just now,
right?
Or just today, things like that. But there are ways to do it, but sunrise, capturing something at sunrise or sunset and posting it immediately is so much more powerful than posting it 2 days later. This is what it looked like last night.
Or posting it
there
at 10 a.m. Right. After sunrise.
It's a huge difference between that reaction we all have.
It's placing someone within the real place. It's giving them that opportunity to step foot inside of it.
Post when something happens. Not in an hour, not in 10 minutes. Post it now. Why not beat others to the punch? They're going to, if it's something really interesting like a temperature inversion, a lot of people are going to start posting about that. Or a rainbow or something odd. Post now, let your post be the one that's shared. Let your post be the one that gets up on the BBC or something like that, or some U.S. channel. The webcams, just to show you an example. Why do people love webcams? Because they're live. Yeah. People love webcams because they're live. People because they're happening now. They're not an hour ago. They're not that. I can hold up a webcam, show my kid, and say, "This is what it looks like here right now." Like right now, like. Outside our house, it's dark, but it's light there, and there's like elk in the way. It's amazing, isn't it?
Well, and what I love about webcams is that this isn't just us that show the power of webcams. I mean, you can find some amazing webcams out there that have thousands of viewers at any one moment that seem completely mundane. There's a guy who rescues kittens, who rescues litters of kittens and raises them in front of a webcam. From the moment that he's bottle feeding them all the way up.
Other kittens watching the kittens.
No, it's not. It's my wife. It's me. We love watching these cats because we can see them immediately. We can watch them playing. We can see this moment, the true moments.
I mean, it's like the puppy cam, the geyser cam, the bear cam, the most popular things we have now. I mean, a camera overlooking your entire park would still be popular. Some of the most interesting, some of the most popular cameras out there are like people off the roofs of people's houses in cities. And it's just seeing that difference in air and quality. It's like I love the Liberty camera, but the shot back of New York is awesome to watch the ferry drive back and forth. And so there are just certain looks that you get with webcams. And that isn't just saying go put webcams up. It means that's why we like them so much, because they're instantaneous, and
right.
Photos can be instantaneous.
Everything can be instantaneous.
Right. And part of it is also, it's like the Instagram versus the latergram thing. Mm-hmm. There are such, The reason it's called Instagram is because photos are supposed to be instantaneous. The reason they force you to use your phone is because it's instantaneous. You know, and people have a tag for latergram because this means, oh, I took this a couple hours ago. So, you know.
And in the community, the latergram is looked down upon.
That's right. And people know it. You know, they know that you're in this place and the sun's already set and, you know, it's set 3 hours ago and you just put it up that the sunrise. Or if you write 3 hours ago, it's like just not as exciting. Press, repeat, and strategize. Do this regularly so people expect this. So one part of it is not just don't do this as a one and done thing. Don't just shoot it once. You know, I don't think people would get bored of sunrises at Gettysburg or at Yellowstone or at Hopewell Furnace. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just one of those things. People have an interest, you know, of that there's frost on the ground.
I would wager that 402 parks. 405 is it now? See, I can never keep up.
It's on Facebook.
Oh, okay. 405 parks could post a sunrise and or sunset photo every single day of the year on one social media and not lose anybody. I bet you could.
You probably get a lot of more likes.
Exactly.
So not just to go make content by that, but we are visual places, you know, and people are interested in the way things look. So just think about it. And you can plan live posting. John, when you're driving in this morning, on your way in, take a few extra minutes, stop, and take the sunrise out at the point, okay?
John, you've got the 3 o'clock program.
Stop talking to yourself.
Yeah, okay. You've got the 3 o'clock program, so I know that you've got to drive across the park. Can you stop and get a photo of 2 or 3 things along the way? So plan an extra hour to get there.
And post them.
And post them as you're driving. Well, don't post them as you're driving. Post them as you pull over and take the photo and then drive on your way.
John Rudy said that. So posting live history, though. Anyway, so the power of time. So we're talking about posting in time, like based on, you know, we don't always have to post about things that happened right now, but things that happened in the past right now.
Right.
So, you know, this blank happened blank years ago just now. John Rudy was born 3 years ago just now.
I was not born 3 years ago just now.
Oh.
I'm an April baby. 3 years ago. So this is sometimes expressed out there as hashtag on this day. But hashtag on this day is the whole day. Imagine if you can do hashtag in this minute, you know, hashtag at this second. And not necessarily put the hashtag, but the just now is the powerful thing of really letting that time machine cook.
On this spot, referencing your location, weird places, things, you know, put a picture up on the spot, like years ago, you know, same kind of thing, amazingly connecting things not just to time, but also to place.
Right. What's really cool about that one, too, is I love the on-the-spot photos. I love the on-this-spot photos when they have your feet in them. When it's not just the spot, but when there's a human being in the spot as well. If you can show on this spot, it's people in that spot. It gives the audience a proxy.
And you can see you can write today instead of just now. But yeah, just now is pretty cool. I mean, one of John's favorite tweets is like this.
Yes.
The
moon
Wright
landing.
brothers.
Yeah. Wright brothers moon landing. Go search it out.
The power of time. What was this?
Oh, this is
Posting
hosting
live
live
nature. Oh, see, you didn't change my slide.
Oh, sorry.
You guys get to see this happen live.
Live.
So the power of time really, you know, it's the same kind of thing.
You know, down by blank, a blank just blanked, which I know is perfect, you know. But, you know, down by the river, a deer just leapt, and you caught it on camera, you know. It's that kind of stuff, showing when something is happening within the space and putting it right up there. And notice that this is in the present tense. You know, it's now. It's not present tense, but it's semi-present. I'm bad at English. Continue. The next one has the present tense in it. Yeah, John's changing it to nature. Thank you. And this one, you know, right outside our window, blank is blanking. So, you know, a cardinal is mating. You know, a cardinal is singing. And notice that it's present tense. It's happening right at this moment. And that's a really powerful tool to use, is the right at this moment. So outside our window, outside the Park Visitor Center, on this monument, at this stone wall, in that tree, really kind of giving the physicality and then also that timeliness.
Now go post something.
Yeah, do it. Well, keep watching us for a couple
Go
minutes.
do it live.
Yeah, go do it live. The best thing, and this is real. I mean, now go post something. Do it. And the most important thing to remember about any of the mediums that we use for social media, any of them at all, is that we are an agency that can experiment. Every one of our media applications we can experiment with. The only thing you have to worry about is that 10 posts an hour on Facebook. You don't want to experiment too much in some of these places, but the life of any one post in Twitter is probably 20 minutes, if that. I know John's laughing at that because the life is actually probably 2 minutes. And then the life of a post on Facebook is probably 3 hours. And that's it. People don't scroll back, generally. People don't scroll back that far through their Twitter or through their Facebook feed.
You guys already know it. You watch the likes happen.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Yeah.
Immediately they start going down. I mean, you get a couple of likes way out there, but
right.
You might as well post again.
Exactly. and this is why trying the same content, trying to do the same thing day after day might work. Now, obviously not every day, but trying to see whether sunsets or sunrises work better for your park. Trying to see whether photos from the front or back of something work better for your park. All those things you can experiment with. You can go out and just try to post something live, and if you screw it up, it's not that big a deal. It's not the end of the world. Go out there and try stuff. So, anything else we want to talk about, John?
I think we're good.
Well, we want to thank you for coming in. Before we stop, I wanted to bring Jen on camera. She's going to have to step over 7 million cords. Jen Smith is our intern here this spring. Here, I'll get up.
She's sitting right there.
Jen Smith is our intern here this spring. Jen's going to be helping us with all sorts of social media stuff. She'll be in the DigInterp main class, which we do want to make sure that we mention. There is going to be a main class digital interpretation next month. We'll get some details out in the DigInterp Facebook group and emailed out to folks about that as well. I'll also try to remember to put it down in the show notes at the bottom of the screen here, down in the doodly-doo. We can put the details in there. But Jen's going to be with us for the next couple months. She's been our camera woman for the past hour, so we want to thank her for that. But otherwise, thank you for joining us here at Mather. Thanks for doing it live with us, and we'll see you next month, same channel, not same bat time, but the same bat place.
Yeah.
On the same bat channel for another DigInterp In Depth. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one.